Hey guys, just thought I'd do a two-in-one inbox review today. Basically, it's of two classic airliners of the 60s and 70s and flew into the early 80s. Basically, it's the old BEA Speedjack Trident 3B and the old BOAC Super VC10. Both these I remember in my childhood, as I say. They were the first airlines that I remember seeing flying at Heathrow in both these schemes. Halcyon days, I know. But both revolutionary aircraft, both did well for their time, although both of them weren't very much of a commercial success. But all the same, as regards to Trident, that was the first airliner to have an automatic landing system. Specifically on the Trident 3, it was a slightly stretched, more stretched fuselage, and it had the booster jet on the back of the aircraft here. And it was one of the first of the two tri-jets, the other being its more successful cousin, the Boeing 727, in which it was in competition with at the time. And then obviously you had the 4-engine Vickers Super VC10 and its predecessor, the VC10, which actually is my all-time favourite airliner. I just love the shape of it, the sound of it, and I've been privileged enough to actually be on two flight decks of VC10s. One a standard one at Brooklands, which was the old Sultan of Oman's aircraft, and obviously a old VC10 tanker which we used in the RAF, which was at ground running at Dunsfold at present, although that will become a static museum piece in a couple of years' time, because obviously flying will cease and the airfield will be turned into a housing estate. So it's sad to say, but there you go. Anyway, moving on, we'll get on with the Trident first. This is actually produced by a company called F-resin, which does some unique airliners in their range. They are limited edition kits, so the detail on them is not fantastic, and there's not a lot to them to build. But I've seen one or two on stands at Telford, and I must admit, if you put a bit of work into them, they do produce a lovely representation of the old Trident. The Trident itself first flew in around about April 1962 from Hatfield, and entered service with BEA in around about a 2-year, well, I think it was about 1964, and sold it on right until around about 1986. Because they had new bypass laws with pollution and noise, which outruled any aircraft like this, and they just couldn't afford the expense of putting husher kits on them. And by then, the 757 was coming in to replace it. However, what proves a point with this aircraft is that on the day of the inaugural service of the 757 with British Airways, it couldn't fly from Edinburgh to Heathrow because it was fogged in. And being such a unique aircraft, in its place they actually flew up the Trident to collect the passengers and fly it back to Heathrow, because it's the only one that had an automatic landing system and could fly in those conditions. So that just tells you what a thoroughbred of an aircraft this was and how reliable it was. Whereas its predecessor couldn't even fly in fog. So there you go. It was, as I say, one of the two tri-jets, the other being the Boeing 727, which was its more successful cousin. As I say, unfortunately, it didn't quite hit the market, although 117 of these were built. And flew very successfully with their airliners. The latter part of its career was spent with China Airlines, for which you can actually get a kit of this in those markings, as well as the BA markings in the F-resin range. So there you go. Kit number on this one is FRP 4034. Get an illustration of the actual kit on the side view there, and the colour call outs. On the side here you've got a long list of all the other aircraft you can get within the F-resin inventory, and on the back as well here you've got the box art, damn thing's not focusing, as well as the reference number. Okay, Again, you've got a long list of all the other aircraft you can actually get in the F-resin range. Now, I do warn you, there is not a great deal to this kit, and it is a bit basic. So you get one bag of sprues, okay, and also a bag, if I can find it, there we go, with your instruction sheet and your decals in. Okay, I'll just take the instruction sheet out. As I say, there's not a lot to this. It's basically one drawing, like they used to do in the old 50s and 60s. Fuselage halves go together. You've got the APU unit and the booster that goes on the back. Engine, exhaust go onto the engines. Assemble them together with the air intakes. And basically the wings again go together. Your air fairings go over the wings. Undercarriage bays are assembled along with the fuse undercarriage. You've got the undercarriage bay there on the front nose wheel, because obviously it had the unique thing of having the front wheel offset. I think it's just basically to do with steering, I expect, or manoeuvring it on the ground. Nose wheel goes in, etc. Again with the undercarriage bays all together. Wings go on, and then obviously got the tailplane with its distinctive T section goes on. 20 kilograms of weight in the nose, and that's it. Bob's your uncle. Your kit is built. And then obviously you've got your colour call out, which comes as the BEA Speed Jack scheme. Colour references, again, you've got extra colour X550 BEA blue. And X551 BEA grey, and they actually refer to the red as well. Personally, I am going to paint the red on because the decals are thick as hell. So yeah, and then obviously whichever aircraft you got the numbers which go above the canopy and just below it. There you are. That is it. And on the back here, you've got obviously a quick sort of history of the aircraft itself. Okay. Right. Okay, let's get the kit out of the bag. As I say, there's not much to it. It's as flashy as hell, as you can see here. There's not a lot of detail, and what is the bare minimum, so you may have to go over them again with a scriber. Wings aren't so bad. You can see a bit of the panel line detail, but to enhance it I would suggest going over the scriber again, particularly if you want to put a wash on. There are some weld marks on here, so you're gonna have to, if you can't quite see it in the light, you're gonna have to, damn it, focus, you're gonna have, damn thing's not focusing, come on, focus, that's it. You're going to have to sand that off, as you can see along here, and on the top of the fuselage on the other half here. But again, with the doors, I think you're going to have to go over with the scriber on those. Nice shape to it, of the authentic Trident, but again with the air intake, there's a lot of flash on that. The wheels are on thick sprue gates, as well as the undercarriage, which looks rather delicate. Air fairings, again, you got them on thick sprue gates to go. If you get any other parts off, be very careful, otherwise you're going to be buggered. There you got the air inlet here with the, oh god, I can't even get it to focus. You can see there, okay, with the air blades, as it were, the engine blades, and on the other half as well. Exhausts are supposed to be on here somewhere. Yeah, they're right there. Wheels, yeah, not a lot of detail there, but as I say, it is a limited run kit, so there you go, and that is basically your model. Okay, I shall put that back in its bag. If I can find the bag, that is. Oh yeah, here we go. Now I'm just going to get one more bit out. It's just fallen on the floor underneath my slipper and my foot. And that, if you can see it, god damn thing won't focus. Come on, focus, you devil. There you go. Is, excuse the hair, it just fell on the carpet. Is your front nose gear undercarriage bay. So there you go. Right. In, and along with that goes back in the box. Okay. And then you've got your decals. Now, yeah. Oh, crying out loud. Will it focus? There you go. I must admit, they are extremely thick. So, yeah. As I say, you've got plenty of markings for all the aircraft that were in the fleet. Especially that particular well-known speed jack symbol that used to go on the tail. Even the windows are nicely done. Little bit of stencils here and there at the end. Basically, that's it, guys. I think, as I said, I'm going to paint the wings. I'm not going to use the decals. But I shall use the decals for this. In fact, I may have I've got an aftermarket set of decals for this. So I'll probably use them all told as opposed to these, because I might give these a try. If I have problems, then obviously I'm going to go onto the aftermarket set, and that's the 26 decals set. So there you go. Always be prepared, that's what I say. Right, next one we'll go on to is Roden's VC10. I'm just going to get these decals back in along with the instruction sheet. Back in there. Okay, that goes back in there. There we are. Right, pop that on the side. Right, and then we're going on to the Roden VC10, which is this kit here. Again, I love the box art on this, I have to say, because I love that distinctive scheme of theirs. Actually, let's put the camera down just a notch. There we go. It's been out a while, this kit. I would say about 2 years now. Let's get it to focus. Yeah, I just love that iconic scheme of the VC10. It just looks so beautiful and graceful. In fact, I loved the retro jumbo they did, the 400. It just looked beautiful. As I say, this one held the transatlantic speed record of 5 hours 1 minute until the 747 broke it in 1982 with 4 hours and I think 35 minutes. That was with the 400. So that tells you a lot for this aircraft. Later on, they were actually taken on, after BA retired them, they were taken on and converted into tankers and served on until 2013. 1 or 2 examples are still about. I think there's one at Bruntingthorpe which was doing ground runs, but obviously we know what's happening there. I have heard that they possibly have found a home for it and it might be moved to somewhere else. Where, I don't know yet. And there's also one currently ground running at Dunsfold, which I've actually been on. And it's surprising how small the cockpit is in comparison to the size of the aircraft. But she is a beauty all the same. And she's a firm favourite airliner of mine. As you can see here, you've got the distinctive, beautiful BOAC Cunard scheme of the Super VC10. Kit number on this is 313. You got little information, history about the aircraft on the side in about 8 different languages. A box art illustration on the side there, and then obviously you got your colour call out, which is the only one, which is a Vickers Super VC10 1151 GASGI BOAC Airlines late 1960th. Late 1960th. I think somebody made a bit of a spelling mistake there. Over that, they were getting a little bit Shakespearean. Forsooth, lieth VC10th, 1960th. Anyway, I'm not going to babble on. Let's have a look and see what's inside the box. Now, I did get a few extra parts with this kit. I've got myself a metallic details set with all the air intakes. Hang on, let's get this to focus. Air fences, parts and detail for the undercarriage bays. I've got the air filters for the engines and also some detail for the wheels and etc, including airspeed indicators, just to enhance the kit a little bit more. Also, I've got myself some 26 decals, aftermarket decal sheet, because obviously I'm going to do this in the BOAC Cunard scheme. really, because I mean the decals I've heard of Roden are not that great, and I've had a look at them, and yeah, this really sort of convinced it for me that I needed to get some aftermarket. So I'll probably be using those guys. Anyway, let's have a look at the instruction sheet. Again, it's very basic. You've got a bit of history about the aircraft itself, and then basically it's just a 2-page pamphlet. You've got the sprue trees inside with all the kit parts and the symbols. And then the first process is assembling the rear tail planes, as you can see there. And then the next process is assembling the Rolls-Royce Conway engines, as you can see there, tailplane, and then obviously the assembly of the front nose wheel and the main undercarriage units, and then putting the fairing onto the upper part of the wing, putting the wings together. Interior windows go in, but I won't be using them, so I'll be using PVA. And then it's just the main assembly of the actual aircraft itself. Fuselage halves go together along with the clear perspex and nose, and it's suggested about 6 kilograms of weight. I might put a little bit more in. Then obviously the wings go on, the engines go on, the tail goes on along with the tail planes, and then obviously the next thing to do is basically put all the fairings underneath onto the fuselage. The main nose gear goes in. And then on the top you've got all the airspeed indicators and fairings, etc., which go on. And then underneath on the final process is the assembly of the main undercarriage units and fairings again. And then that's it, the kit is built. Right, and then the first thing we're going to have a look at is the tail planes here. Nice recessed panel line detail, although they are a little bit sort of see-through and there is a tiny amount of flash on them. So you'll probably have to do a bit of sanding here. You've got your main nose there, you've got your rear APU unit, some airspeed indicators there, a little bit of a fairing there. And then obviously onto the wings. This is the lower part of the wings. Again, there's a little bit of flash there that you're going to have to clean up with, but nothing too strenuous. And again on the undercarriage bay as well. Upper wings, quite nice recessed panel line detail. Again at the edge here you're going to have to do a bit of sanding because there's a little bit of flash. I won't show you the other wing. One side of the fuselage, not bad. There's some nice panel line detail on that, although on the in the actual passenger windows, one or two of them are going to need a bit of cleaning up, but nothing too strenuous that you can't fix. So there you go. One part of the actual undercarriage units and wheels and nose, and then obviously you've got the assembly of the air intakes there and the rear exhaust for the Rolls-Royce Conway engines. And believe it or not, they've actually got the actual tanks for the tanker version, because they actually do model this in the K3 version, I think, or C Mark 1, I can't remember. But as I say, moderate amount of detail on the wheels, so it's just as well I got the aftermarket set. Clear windows, which you can see there, passenger windows, they're a little bit distorted. And then obviously you've got the main perspex for the cockpit, which you can see here. Not bad, but then again you're not going to see a lot in the interior, so it doesn't really matter. Also, I noticed you've got a mask set for the canopy, so that's a good thing. And then finally you got the tailplane, that's distinctive tailplane of the VC10. Again, some nice panel line detail on it. Conway engines, you can see there, a little bit of flash in the edges, which you're going to have to sand down. But all told, not bad. And again, I've got some the aftermarket metallic detail set to sort that out. Also, there's your colour call out. Again, as I say, GASGI BOAC Airlines, late 1960th forsooth. So there you go. But I just love that colour scheme. It just looks so graceful and so smart. And then obviously you've got your decals, which, as I say, yeah, they are a bit thick. And I've heard nasty things about their decals. In fact, the Union Jack is totally out of register, as you can see there. It just, yeah. So I'm not going to be using them, to be honest with you. Enough said about those. But, as I say, all it needs is just a little bit of work on the kit, and it can make an absolute beautiful representation of the Super VC10. And I used to love watching these graceful birds coming in at Heathrow in the old BA scheme. I think the last one I saw was around about 1983. I think that's the last time I did, because we were on our way to see the shuttle flyby, and we saw one or two of them come in, and that was the last time I actually saw the VC10, because shortly after that they retired them. But there you go. But as I say, I've got a few extra bits here. The metallic details set, you can get that on eBay. And also I would suggest get yourself some Aftermarket Decals via 26 Decals. They do a number of colour schemes for modern and retro airliners, and they do quite a few VC10 ones as well for Ghana Airways, Gulf Air, Oman Air, Air Malawi, and also the Sheikh of Oman's aircraft. So that one I've actually been on at Brooklands as well, and sat in the cockpit of that one. So yeah, and it's still operational, believe it or not, although they can't fly it, it's still in sort of ground running configuration. So yeah, but lovely aircraft all the same, and to me she is the queen of the skies, because she just looks so graceful. So there you have it. That's the 2-in-1 inbox review of Roden's Super Vicker VC10 sorry, I'm getting myself tongue tied. The Vickers Supermarine Super VC10 and BOAC markings, and F-resin's Trident 3B in BEA Speedjack markings. So yeah, not great, not brilliant kits either of them, but just a little bit of work here and there. They can really sort of turn out as a lovely representation of two classic airliners in classic aircraft schemes. So there you go. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. Hope you enjoyed the 2-in-1 inbox reviews. I'll possibly do another one or two tomorrow. I'm not sure. Just around the week off. So in the meantime, as I always say, stay safe, stay at home. If you can work from home, do so. Wear a mask, wash your hands, desanitize your hands, keep your distance of 2 meters. I know it's not easy in some places, but try, and we'll all get through this. And by the way things are looking, they're going to start opening things up soon. So yeah, and the vaccines are coming through thick and fast. So yeah. Anyway, until the next time, get kit crazy, happy modelling, stay safe, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.